Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Pardon Our Picks, where perfection is a work in progress. 2024 edition. I'm your host, Sam. Alongside me, as always, is the GM, Tarek. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. I forgot football was a thing or what it looks like, but we're here talking about it, so let's have some fun.
Don't forget that oblong shape that they toss around in the
that type of football. I was thinking the other one. Never mind.
Yes.
Okay.
They call it rugby in other states. And then, of course, we have our football guru, Jessica. How you doing tonight?
I am good. I'm getting a little tired and hungry, but I don't think I'm going to take it out on you guys.
Please don't. Please don't.
Phew.
I'd hate if you beat us again.
I wouldn't.
Speaking of beating us, football Jesus with his little crown.
It feels good to be back. It feels good to be back on top of the mountain where I belong. And I cannot wait to reign. I cannot wait to reign above for an entire season. It's going to be great. All of my worshipers are going to love it.
Nice. All right. Well, of course, we are brought to you by Aardvark Concepts Incorporated, more than just a sign shop. Catch them up in Westminster for all of your sign and decal needs. So, new season, completely new everything for a lot of teams, especially the number one position for every team, quarterback. I got to ask, coming into the new season, who's the quarterback that needs to prove the most, or perhaps just will be the most impactful to their own team? Let's start with last year's leader, football Jesus.
Oh, I'm going to take a big shot here, and I'm going to say Brock Purdy, because the San Francisco 49ers just committed a ton of money, not only to Brandon Ayuk in the offseason, but also Trent Williams, as of recording today, signed him to another massive deal. So he has the best running back in the league. He has arguably the best wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 combo in the league. He has arguably the best left tackle in the league and has a really good defense coming off a really good year that is just added pieces. So if Brock Purdy can't take that next step, and we've seen him be a very good game manager, but can he become that next level of quarterback that team really needs to succeed? Remains to be seen, but my money goes to Brock Purdy just because San Francisco is a complete team, with him being the lone question mark in my mind.
I actually think that's the reason he has the least to prove, because they're such a complete team. And he is still Mr. Irrelevant, so he can always lean on that, and he's not getting paid like everybody else. Russell Wilson, on the other hand, Russell Wilson has gotten this big fat check, and then everybody's saying he seems to have forgotten how to play football. He was so bad. And that was under, what is his name? Sean Payton. Yeah, Sean Payton. Which everybody kind of had a thing that, he didn't exactly like him going in, and he was not the guy that he selected, but he didn't earn his keep either. That's why he got shipped out. He got shipped to the Steelers, which, he's got a few good options there, but overall he's going to have to make some good decisions, and I think he's going to show he's pretty much ready to hang it up at this point. And Justin Fields will step in.
So Jess definitely took mine, because that just Russell Wilson for 2 years in the Broncos just did not do anything. So my backup one is Anthony Richardson with the Colts. So he did not have a lot of starts. The Colts have had a similar problem as the Broncos in that they can't seem to find a quarterback post Peyton Manning. Colts had Andrew Luck for a little while. He got tired of lacerated lungs, so he retired. So, but the Colts they've got a team starting to build up again. They're trying to piece things back together. So I think he's trying to get a team back to prominence. I think he's got a lot to prove.
In my opinion, the one player that's going to come in, I think is going to make the biggest impact on his team, is going to be Caleb Williams, in comparison to, as you said, Justin Fields is going to be trying to step in for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like Justin Fields, he was dragging that entire team down. He was the reason I think that they weren't getting anywhere near the playoffs. He couldn't throw the ball through the uprights. The boy had zero accuracy. He could run. He was a bit more Lamar in that aspect, but Lamar can actually throw the ball. That was the problem. And with the line that they had there, and they had some good receivers, he just couldn't hit them. I mean, I think he had less than three. He definitely had less than 3,000 yards passing. I think he had close to 2. And quite frankly, I think Caleb Williams, with the pieces he has around him, I think he puts up huge numbers this year. Huge numbers. I mean, DJ Moore, absolutely. Keenan Allen. It's just going to be – it's a plethora of options for him. I feel like he's going to show Chicago what they could have had if they had even a modicum of a decent quarterback last year. I think he might lead them to the playoffs. From last in that division to the playoffs in that division, I think Green Bay kind of falls off a little bit. But it's just me. Let's get on to our standings from last year. And, of course, Football Jesus with the tie from last
Bask in my glory.
tied with me, as I was the only one last year to pick the correct Super Bowl winner out of the 4 of us, at least. I didn't check the other 3 people. And that's where we ended. 178 right. 17-week season, 18-week season.
Let's hope there's a little bit more disparity, or we close that gap a little bit this year to where everyone's like in the 175s and up.
Well, remember last year we were all within, like, it was the last like 3 weeks or something, wasn't it?
Mhm.
That just really shook things up. And I mean, it was kind of fun though.
All I remember is I was behind for quite a while, and I had to make a comeback.
Mm-hmm.
So, but here we are. And speaking of here we are, let's go there to Football Jesus. Give us that gospel from on high with your game of the week.
Well, the gospel this week relates back to the conversation that we were just having about quarterbacks with a lot to prove. So my game of the week is the Pittsburgh Steelers going into Atlanta to play the newly minted quarterback Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons. This game stuck out to me because of these 2 quarterbacks in completely new systems. Russell Wilson going from Denver to Pittsburgh to arguably a worse offense, but with a better defense. And then Kirk Cousins going from a team with a better offense in Minnesota to a worse offense statistically in Atlanta, but pretty much a better defense. So how do I see these teams stacking up? I think this is going to be a rough game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We still don't know what Russell Wilson is going to show up. Is it going to be the quarterback who played really well in Seattle? Or is it going to be the guy that we've seen for the last 2 years in Denver? I tend to lean towards more recent history than the further away. And seeing who Pittsburgh has at wide receiver, I'm not confident that they are going to be the guys that get Russell Wilson those contested catches, because he's not as young as he once was in Seattle, where he could scramble around and extend plays. But on the other side of the ball, I see Kirk Cousins being in the exact system that he needs, a tight end that has really good hands, Kyle Pitts, a multifaceted running back in Bijan Robinson, who's going to be able to not only pass protect, but get out and get those short yardage passes on the blitz.
You think he's going to throw it to the running back a lot more this year?
I do, because I don't think he's going to have a choice because he's got Drake London, he's got Bijan Robinson, and he's got Kyle Pitts. And I don't see anyone else down there catching footballs at any kind of clip. So I think it's going to be a close game because, as we all know, Pittsburgh's defense always plays well, no matter who's playing, who's in, what's what. So I have this coming down to a last-second field goal by Atlanta, but I have Atlanta winning this 23-20.
I gotta even check I actually picked Pittsburgh here. Not exactly sure why. So I have more faith in Kirk Cousins and the offense that he's going to really boost them. So I think I might change that pick. I know with how much Russell Wilson has to prove, and I do think Mike Tomlin is a great game planner. I know he knows how to work with what he's got. Somehow the Steelers tend to eke out wins against teams that they do not deserve to beat. So, maybe that's why I went that route, but it could change, as is tradition.
I'm going with Atlanta, partly out of spite. You got Russell Wilson who just like crapped on my Broncos for 2 years, and I hate Pittsburgh. But just going off his stats and going off everything else, I'm starting off. I'm going to go with Sam's phrasing and playing the chalk, so I can get on the board to start off here. But yeah, let's go with Atlanta.
How many picks do you think he throws?
Wilson?
Oh, Russell Wilson, at least 3.
Okay. Gotcha. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think this is going to be one of those games that looks like a defensive struggle, but really is an offensive misfire.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins in a new system with a bad line and a running back that is unproven as of now. Bijan, he didn't do it for me last year. I feel like – but then again, of course, he had crap quarterback play from Matt Ritter or Desmond Ritter, whatever his name is. He's not even there anymore. I don't even think he's on the team that he got traded to. Gone. I think that the offense in Pittsburgh is going to be putrid, just like it was last year, just like it's been every year for the past 3-4 years. They don't know how to get the ball down the field. They don't know how. All they can do is run the ball. And right now, Najee and their backup, they're not looking great. Okay. I feel like this game is going to be like 17-14 or 20-17. I don't think it's 2017. I have Atlanta winning this one, but it's going to look uglier than it does than a good game would. So it's going to be pretty bad. All right, let's get to our next game of the week. Of course, the GM. Let's talk them X's and O's. What's your game of the week?
All right, so I got Seattle and Denver. Denver going up to the Upper East in Seattle. There we go. All right, I thought so. So this is interesting. We got a couple different shakeups in this game. You have a new head coach with Mike Macdonald. He's actually younger than me, which makes me feel old. Going up there, so you got DK Metcalf going with a brand new head coach, learning that, and then you got Denver with brand new quarterback, draft pick Bo Nix. So this is going to be interesting setup, old versus the new.
How do you think their run game in Denver is going to be?
I wasn't focusing so much on the run game. I was focusing on the wide receivers a little bit. Just so you got the good thing Denver's got going for them is they got rid of Jerry Jeudy, who I always thought was overrated. Yeah. You listen to all the commentators; they all like saying his praises, and I kept seeing him drop picks. I'm like, are we seeing two different wide receivers here? And then you got Pat Surtain, who's one of the better ones, but we'll see. So they got some of the new offensive line to help the run, but who is their main running back? Did they get a new one?
It's Javonte something.
I could look here. Let me see. Broncos depth chart.
Williams.
We're live here, people.
Williams. Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams, that's who it is. I almost picked him up. I was like, no.
So we'll see. It may come down to the run game because I mean you got some good matchups with some of the safeties and like and corners like Pat Surtain. So we'll see. So but I'm going with Seattle. I'm going with some more experience than some of the new. I think it's going to take a couple weeks for the Broncos to try and shake off some of this rust and get under the new system with these new guys. So
I am going to agree. I'm picking Seattle, but I think this is going to be a very close game. As Tarek mentioned, Pat Surtain, I think he's going to match up well against DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett had a really down year last year, so I really think this game is going to come down to how Seattle and Jackson Smith and Jigba, one of their first-round picks from last year, how he does against that third corner in the slot. And if Geno Smith takes that further step back, that he started regressing last year too. But we'll see. I have faith that the Broncos are going to be better because I don't know if Tarek could survive another down year from the Broncos. So I'm going to go with Seattle on this one, but I think it's going to be a closer game that's decided by a score.
I too am picking Seattle. I think for me, it's more of the Seattle has a lot more players that have played together longer, even though some of them hit a little bit of a slump. I'm excited to watch Bo Nix play, and I think he's going to evolve and end up being a really good quarterback. But week one, I'm not betting on him, especially with the whole new team around him, and nobody knows what he's going to look like in the NFL, and it's kind of rare for some of these veteran players that you can kind of rely on, like Tyler Lockett, typically, right? Metcalf, right? That have played together for so long. Is Metcalf still there?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What?
Metcalf, Skittles.
Yes.
But I feel like there's just a trust, a bond that's like kind of formed there that they can at least lean on that and go against the rookie. And they might not make it very far in the season, but they at least have this week, I think.
I look at this game and I see two things. One, a good defensive backfield for the Broncos and a great receiving core for the Seahawks. The quarterback play in Seattle is, I'd say, middle of the low of the pack as far as starters go. I mean, nobody's expecting Geno to light up the scoreboard, although last year he did fine last year. I mean, he was serviceable. He got him to the playoffs. He did pretty good. But given what we know about the offense in Seattle, I think the main thing we're going to be looking for is how that offense in Denver actually gels, how they work together. Bo Nix, he was really good in college. I mean, took him to the playoffs, the BCS.
He was in college for like 15 years, but
that's true. That's true. But that hasn't always translated. Brandon Whedon back in the day, of course, was 26 when he came out. But given how he did in Oregon, I mean, he took him to, like I said, he took him to the playoffs. They looked like a good team. It's not necessarily something that's going to translate week one for this team. I think other teams, that game day number one starter rookie, can be a bit more impactful. I don't know that that's going to be the case here. I got Seattle winning this one more so because they're home than anything else. But look for this to be in the mid-20s for each team. All right, let's move on. We have our game day guru, Jessica. Give us
So my game of the
your
week
game.
is the Los Angeles Rams at the Detroit Lions.
I think
This is a matchup from 8 months ago. Well, normally I actually go with more defensive teams, and these two have some
I think
serious.
I guessed it because I jumped the gun.
Oh! I thought you said I could have.
I thought I was just having a seizure. My eyes were just blinking different teams in front.
Tarek saw the Matrix.
So I'm actually going against the grain a little bit on this one. So this is a matchup for from 8 months ago, the playoff game they both made, where it was a matter of 1 point, and I think it went into overtime. This is one of the few times that the Rams will be pretty much healthy offensively. They are starting a new right tackle as well. They have apparently a ton of faith in, but they are hoping to have Puka Nacua really do his job. Like last year, I believe he did pretty well. Cooper Kupp's back. They did, I think, a better job of beefing up their defense, their secondary specifically, than Detroit did. And I think because of the matchup and, I don't know. I'm going with the Rams here, and I know they are not favored, and I know Dan Campbell is hungry. He's always hungry. And I know
Kneecaps.
Aaron Donald is retired now, and he was a hard guy to plan for, right? But I feel like they might underestimate what they have to plan for now that he's out, and I think it's going to be a really close game. I think it's going to be obviously an offensive game, but I have Jared Goff throwing at least one pick, and I think it's going to be another 1-point game with the Rams taking it. And I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
You know, you made a lot of good points, but the one thing that stuck out to me with this game was that Aaron Donald is retired.
Yeah.
He is the guy that comes in and wrecks your entire offensive game plan, no matter what you do, how you block him, triple cover him. He's still getting to the quarterback. Teams don't have to plan for that anymore when it comes to the Rams defense. So I picked the Lions in this because you can't fill a first ballot Hall of Famer's shoes right away. There's just no way that the Rams defense, in my mind, first game is going to be as dominant as it could be with Aaron Donald on the field. I do think it's going to be a close game because Matthew Stafford, known gunslinger, Puka Nacua, even though there's some tape on him from last year now, I still think he's got the chops to be a really good receiver in the NFL. You can't count out Cooper Kupp. So
Kyron Williams.
I don't see him doing much, especially if they have him returning kicks this year. He's going to get banged up. But I have the Lions in this one. I have it by a field goal because I think it's going to be close just because it's, both of these teams traded quarterbacks. There's always going to be that I want revenge game from both of those players. You're going to do whatever it takes to win. But I think the loss of Aaron Donald is going to be a little bit too much for the Rams.
Yeah, so I picked the Lions purely out of what you guys have already said, that the regime has changed and the Lions, I think, are going to be out for blood. So they're you guys pretty much said anything I would cover, which is what I love speaking after you two, because I have nothing left to say.
I look at this game, I see one thing. This is the game that people who love offense are going to want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of deep pass. It's a lot of passing in this game. I'm not sure that the running backs in Detroit, Jahmyr Gibbs, are going to be as healthy as they should be. I mean, they wore themselves down last year. I think Jahmyr Gibbs was out a couple of games last year, and he may be questioned. I think he's questionable for this first game. Yes, they had a great running back come into that game, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, is the top receiver on that team. He's a great receiver. I love the name, just because of what it is. It's just, but I think Matthew Stafford, the elder statesman in this league, with Cooper Kupp coming back healthy, Puka Nacua, I feel like he's going to be throwing the ball around a lot. I feel like he ekes it out. He takes it on his back and wins this game. In the end, I think it's 38-34.
Ooh.
38-34.
And fun fact, I think it was only like 5 games maybe that Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, maybe Williams, and Stafford were all healthy last year.
I didn't even think it was that. I think Kupp was out earlier than that.
I mean, total in like that they played together on the same field. I think it was a maximum of 5 games. And also, Amon-Ra St. Brown can speak like 7 languages or something. Just a fun fact.
All right.
Full of them today, folks.
Yeah.
Let's get to our pop panel pick'ems, quick picks. Of course, 2 of us picking the Chiefs. Pretty much.
High five, Brady. High five, Brady.
Only because of Derrick Henry and his career stats against the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, I'm on the border on this. I might change it.
Shock.
I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. You all change yours too. You just don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
I
Not
don't.
all of us change ours.
Except for
Honestly,
Terry.
This guy never changes his picks unless.
I
he's
think
told
you
me.
have. I think you were like, I can't do it. And then
I make mention that I might do it if this guy doesn't play.
Honestly,
Well, that's the same thing. So
The only other game on here that had me questioning was the Arizona Buffalo game because Buffalo lost their wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 from last year in offseason.
do
So
you know how much faith I have in Arizona to do anything
more than
other
I
than Connors?
Marvin Harrison Jr., baby.
Other than
I-
Connors,
that I'm not saying I have faith in Arizona. I want to see what Josh Allen looks like without a bona fide wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 because he lost Diggs and Gabe Davis. So
Right.
now he's got Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel and a bunch of other nobodies to throw the ball to. So this is kind of a prove-it game for him.
against Arizona.
Of course, this one, I'm the only one to pick the Giants to upset the Vikings because I don't think Sam Darnold can get it done.
I agree with that.
I
However,
don't think
it's the
Daniel
Giants.
Jones can do any better.
The Giants as a whole are just a mess.
I know, but I love to see an upset. It'll be fun to watch.
I feel like I should pick the Panthers just so we each have a different game per the chart.
I was back and forth on that one. I know the Panthers are trash, but I feel like I have no idea what the Saints are going to do.
Bryce Young looks like somebody strapped up a 15-year-old and said, "Go on, have fun."
Yeah.
So unless he proves us wrong, which I don't think he does, because I don't think the people are in place in that offense for him to take advantage of it yet.
We got Chuba Hubbard.
Oh yeah, Chubba Hubba and
Hubba.
Adam Thielen, whose knees are holding on with duct tape and a prayer.
Oh my God.
Of course, nothing but clean sweeps on this one, and I'm good with it.
There you go.
But again, Chargers. Who knows? It's Greg
It's the
Roman.
Raiders.
It's the
It's-
Raiders.
It's Greg Roman. How many toss-up games did the Ravens have with Greg Roman, offensive coordinator, where we just shat the
I
bed?
thought Greg Roman went. Oh, the Chargers. Yeah.
They're going to check down and do a shuttle pass to the running back every single play.
Not only Greg Roman, but both of Baltimore's running backs have gone there too. So
Yeah. And they don't have Keenan Allen this year.
that's right.
Yeah.
He's on the Bears.
They
Of
are
course,
Quentin
of course the
Johnson.
running backs went there because that way they get the shuttle pass and they get a run every play.
Listen, Brady, I hope you picked the Raiders.
I didn't, but I'm
You
just saying
should.
I don't think the Chargers make the playoffs this year. Hot take, first episode.
I don't
Oh,
think
no,
they're
I
making
mean-
the playoffs either, but
Yeah,
still,
I'm
they
on board
beat
with
the
that,
Raiders.
but they're beating the Raiders.
Gardner Minshew, he's got some Minshew magic left in that arm.
Then, of course, pretty much clean sweeps other than the Rams game, which we've already discussed. So,
Monday Night Football, that's going to be an interesting one because the guy who tore Aaron Rodgers' ACL is now on the San Francisco 49ers getting an attempt to do it again.
yep.
So we'll see. I think
He's
that's going to
planning
be.
on it, just sitting there stroking a cat, just like I'm going to get him again.
I mean, I'm supposed to be the bad guy this year, so yes, of course. But no, that one's going to be interesting because I feel like that has the makings of being either a really high score blowout or a really defensive game because I think the Jets defense is going to be sneaky good this year.
Against the San Francisco 49ers?
Yes,
Bro.
Yeah, no.
I'm telling you, I got a feeling.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us again for another year. I do not remember how many years we've been doing this. Seems like just yesterday was just me and Sam doing this on Facebook Live. So that was still a thing. So welcome to another year. Thank you guys for watching and sticking with us. As always, please click like, subscribe so you know you get our videos every single week, every single time. And please leave a comment. Let us know what hot takes. Brady's mom asked us to cut his hair. Anything you want to say, please let us know.
Hi, Carol. Sorry.
Hello, Carol.
All right.
The fan. We're like
And
the
as always-
WNBA.
We'll see you guys next week. As always, I am Tarek.
I'm King Football Jesus.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Sam. And you have a great football week.
Bye, guys.
See y'all.